أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بفضل بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد بن عبد الله وعلى أهل بيته المطهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله في الأراضين صاحب العصر والزمان عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. Dear brothers and sisters, the board of Haadi School, the parents, the student, all the attendees, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. It's a noble cause and a sacred effort toward raising our kids according to the Islamic values, creating an Islamic atmosphere where we can feel the security of those we are responsible for in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the day of judgment. As we may know, the most challenge responsibility immigrating to non-Muslim countries is to make sure that ourselves, our kids, and those who depend on us will not weaken or lose their faith. This is the condition that all maraja speak about under what's called in Arabic at-ta'arrub ba'da al-hijra. That means going back, living the life of the Bedouin Arabian before Islam, leaving Medina as the Islamic society and going back to the Bedouin life while there is no values and teachings of the religion, of the deen of Allah. So they try to say that immigration itself, it's a human behavior that has occurred during the human history since the time of Nabiullah Adam alayhi salam until nowadays. People have many reasons to move around the globe, but according to fatwas of our maraja hafizahumullah and ulama, that this move should happen upon this condition of making sure that you will not, by your move, by your migration, you will not put your kids and yourself in the risk of weakening or losing your faith, your religion, your deen. So if you want to implement this fatwa into reality, if we want to live up to this Shari'i and legal Islamic condition, we need to prepare and to pave the way toward securing such atmosphere where we see the faith and the iman of ourselves and our kids flourishing and becoming stronger. And one of the main reasons is education. Why? Simply because any kid would live at least 5 to 6 hours a day away from home, learning from the surroundings, from friends, from teachers, from what he's hearing or she's seeing, because this is the indirect teaching where you catch by your eyes and by your ears what's going around you. That's why when we speak about an Islamic school, it shouldn't mean that we are refusing the system public because we don't agree with their curriculum in math or science or geography. Rather, we are trying to have an added value to that system by preserving our identity and living according to an Islamic system where we have our ethics and values. Here we have a problem, which is many Muslims we would consider the Islamic school as being a good place to learn the ethical teachings, the values, the good behavior, but by paying the price of being weak in the scientific criteria. And this is I don't know from where they get that, because the main reason behind education is not only to raise someone according to the religious ethical teachings while being a failure in other aspects of life. No, this is not the concept, the true concept. The true concept of Islam and the teaching of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam is to raise a complete human being where he or she can achieve the high levels in this world and in the hereafter. So we need to give the right examples to show the parents that Islamic school should and could do better by enhancing the conditions that might help to correct the mistakes, to overcome the challenges, and to come up with a fine results where everyone should feel the happiness of having an Islamic school in a Western society. Unfortunately, some of us would not have the patience to bear with this new project, not only at Al-Haadi, at any new project. People might expect the best result from the first or second or third year, while everyone knows that the Success is not a fruit of an overnight effort. It's a chain of efforts and accumulation of expertise who can join effort together to arrive to the day where we can show the world that we are able to live according to the teaching of Islam and Ahl al-Bayt, and the same time contribute to the society that we're living in all the fields, being role models, being in the top results of the student of the country, providing all what we can in different fields and walks of life, creating new solutions. And by this meaning, no one would dare to ignore our existence and our success. So everyone has a role. Parents have the role of participating, encouraging, and bear the patience to see the results. The community has a responsibility of financing, helping, putting the priorities in a sequence order where they would recognize which project is most important and challenging for the community. And myself, I remember hearing this saying from one of the late ulama when we explained to him about the challenges of Muslim and mu'mineen in the United States and Canada. He said, according to what you're saying, in that part of the world, school would come before the mosque. Al-madrasa qabla al-masjid. Why? Because we can pray in any clean place where we have permission from even non-Muslims to pray in a little carpet toward the Kaaba, but we cannot raise our kids according to our values in any place or in any condition. So when you create a Muslim generations, a loyal generation to Islam, then those kids would become strong believers who will build many mosques around the country, because they will be financially better than their parents, and with their abilities, with their financial abilities, they would have the strong belief that will not give away their identity as proud Muslims. So that's why we call upon our community to reconsider their priorities, because we are spending millions and millions in buildings, but sometimes we're not that generous when we come to the needs of our kids. Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. While if we ask any marja about our responsibility, should we continue living in such societies, the answer would be, if you feel secure raising your family according to Islam, yes, you could live wherever you can. So the challenge here is not where can I pray or where we can get together. You can rent any place, no problem. But would you make sure, would you feel secure when you ask yourself whom my daughter is talking to, whom my son is playing with? Are those friends and comrades the right people to live with, to learn from? So unfortunately, till this moment, many Muslims would not recognize and admit that because of school and schooling and being away from home at least 9 months a year, we would be facing a lot of strange ideas, strange behaviors, many unexpected, ethics that came from a non-Islamic atmosphere. So imagine a mu'min home, a safe environment at home, completed and supported by a safe and clean atmosphere at school. Then yes, you have a complete cycle which is kind of matching logo that came together. The same thing you're hearing and learning at home, the same thing you're hearing and learning at school. The other picture is you're learning something at home and you're learning the opposite sometimes at the school. So what to choose, whom to live with, what to adopt, and here it comes the problem of having two personality. And this is what we're seeing in our kids' behavior. One personality to please the parents at home. What you like? You like hijab? Okay, this is my hijab. You like me, being someone who prays on time? Okay, I'm praying on time. But if you go to their other life, if you look into their devices, electronic devices, smartphones and computers, see the history, where they are going, what they are searching for, what they are trying to see and to learn, here you might be surprised that there is a contradiction, a kind of another personality that is being made for the other world, for the other atmosphere, for the other society. And this is a psychological problem because you're practicing your religion, but not because you believe in that, just to please your parents, while you feel the joy, just going after your non-Muslim friends, trying to imitate them, trying to be one of them, imitating them in clothes, in styling, even the way you speak, the way you behave. So to help our kids having one personality, we should help them to live in one system, one educational system. By having two educational systems, we are hurting them. We are putting them into trouble. We are putting them in a situation that they cannot, in a way or another, decide for themselves. And if I want to be frank and sincere with you, the other system is more appealing than our system. Why? Because the other system would use the tools of appetizing everything brightening. Come to our system, you have the freedom. You do whatever, you wear what you like, you do what you dream about. While if you want to be in the other system, there's many restrictions, many orders, many limitations. And this is for a certain age of time, this is very appealing. Why? Because in a certain time, a certain age of time, the kids will be just in a situation not to think deeply, not to know the consequences, rather to run after their desires and to look to fulfill their hunger in a way or another. So that's why we don't need just a fundraising event once a year. We need many conferences to take place in the community to address this important issue. Are we having what we're looking for in our kids, in our sons and daughters? Are we feeling secure for the future? Or we're trying to survive the ideology of the immigration ministry when they asked them in England, I guess, why are you bringing a lot of immigrants to this white country? They said, okay, the first generation would, stick to their Indo-Pakistani Arabic, traditions. But how about the second generation? Okay, then how about the third generation? So that's why they were not worrying about having many immigrants coming into the country, because they already set the system from kindergarten to university, and they are very sure that by going through the system, you would never be able to maintain your identity and your culture and your values. You will be brainwashed, and you will be another human being, another style of thinking and behaving. Why? Because they have all the tools, all the media, all the capacity, the financial abilities to convince you, to trying to create another spirit, another mind, through another educational system. Okay, that's why we feel we live with such dilemma every time we would see, shall we stay or shall we go? Is it okay here or it's not okay? Will we live in a strong, big Islamic community, or it's okay to live away in rural areas? All these questions because of fearing losing the kids. So the answer would be by having an Islamic educational system through schools and high schools, matching the teaching of the household, then we have a complete chain where you would feel at peace and live at peace, peace of mind, that you know what you're teaching is the same thing at school, what is hearing or she's hearing from the teacher is the same thing what's being told at home. So this is what fuel the mind of the kid with the same values, the same teachings. Contradictions leads to this unstable, an unstable personality, which you will see it in the society very easily. How people praying, young people praying at Eid celebration, for example, or on Muharram and Ashura, they come. But if you look to their
stylish, how they dress, how they, portray themselves. You would see the, two pictures trying to, to put together, and they don't fit. Every single picture has its own philosophy, its own, understanding of the word, of the day of judgment, of the. So that's why I would encourage the brothers and sisters to address this issue in all the religious and community events. What about our kids? What about our future? Are we heading toward really an Islamic community and Islamic society in the West, or we're just struggling to save some or a few of our dear daughters and sons? I would conclude by thanking the brothers and sisters at Al-Haadi for having such courage. I know how much responsibility to go in a private Islamic school, while many of the people would say, okay, this is Canada, why not enjoying the benefits of the public system? Why should we go back and repeat ourselves, but by having our own places, our own schools and centers? So it needs the courage, it needs the faith, and it needs the patience. And that's why we should always remind ourselves of the sayings of the Holy Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. So we should remind ourselves all the time by do this main pillars, not to be among the losers. إن الإنسان لفي خسر. All human beings are losers except those who believe and do good, and to be able to do good and maintain the good work and the good job. We need التواصي بالحق, that remind ourselves and our families and community about haqq and about sabr. Thank you for listening. Wishing Al-Haadi School board, teachers, students and parents all the success inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.